What is going on, YouTube? So coming back today with my Indiana Hoosiers football preview for 2016. Excuse me. So we're talking about a team out of the Big Ten East that went 6-7 last year, 2-6 in conference, good for fifth in the Big Ten East. It was their first season with at least, I believe, their first season with at least 6 wins since 2011. Somewhat saved their head coach's job. Kevin Wilson seemed like he might have been fighting for his life at Indiana last year, but able to hang on for another year or two. So, anyway, moving to the first of my 3 key players, I'm going to start with new running back Devon Redding. So, Redding will be extremely key to Indiana's success this year. They lose a top-flight running back for the second year in a row. Losing Jordan Howard last year hurt will hurt. I won't say extremely badly, but well, we'll see. Jordan Howard was a 1,000-yard rusher last year, and Redding really broke out at the end of the season. I believe around 250 yards in his final 2 games, maybe even more than that, and then 227 yards in the Pinstripe Bowl against Duke, where he really broke out against a national audience. So my second key player is the new quarterback, at least presumed new quarterback for Indiana, Richard Legal. 6'6" transfer from Oklahoma State. Never really got much playing time there, but he was sitting behind, I believe it was some combination of, he's a redshirt junior now, so Clint Chelf, J.W. Walsh, and Mason Rudolph. But anyway, long-rangey quarterback coming in, probably the favorite to win it right now. Danny Cameron's also in the running. And then also Nate Sudfeld's backup from last year, who has played pretty well when he's been thrown into the mix, Xander Diamond. All 3 are probably in the mix, but I think Legal's the favorite to take it. So my third key player is the most experienced returning defensive lineman for the Indiana Hoosiers, and that is Raphael Green. The only senior coming back at nose tackle, and will be relied on very heavily on this Indiana defense this year, a defense that wasn't bad last year, but they lose 3 very important starters on the defensive line, including Darius Lathan, who went to the NFL. So really his most important job is just to be able to lead this defense, just being a mental leader and leader by performance on the field. So first of my 2 X factors is something I talked about a little bit earlier, and that's replacing Nate Sudfeld. He is the all-time leader in touchdowns and passing yards for Indiana. Losing him is going to hurt a lot. Again, Legal is a very key player in the sense that he's got big shoes to fill. This offense was pretty good last year, but they had pretty good players at every position. You had Nate Sudfeld at quarterback, Jordan Howard at running back, and one thing that I haven't talked about enough is they do have a pretty good set of wide receivers returning for this year between Ricky Jones, Simi Cobbs, and Mitchell Page. They have 3 experienced returning wide receivers that will be able to help whoever takes over at quarterback this year. So my second X factor is building on last season's success. I mentioned this before. Last year was Indiana's best season since 2011, even though they only went 6-7. I believe that they can build even more off that this year, considering they have another friendly out-of-conference schedule. So, if you can be able to move forward, even with a winning record, that'll be a big thing toward Kevin Wilson keeping his job, not just for this year, but for a couple years in the future, and also just his ability to show that he's moving in the right direction with the team. So, get into my trap game for Indiana. I think it's going to be Purdue. For one big reason, obviously, it's a rivalry game. Indiana should be substantially better than Purdue this year. And secondly, they have they really do have a lot of winnable games on this schedule. Last year in the Purdue game, they were able to come out on top, really with not much resistance, won 54-36. This year, you don't really know. It's a rivalry game, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, move into my biggest game for Indiana, And it is really tough to pick, but I'm going to shoot for the stars here and say Michigan. This Indiana team came very, very close to beating Michigan last year. And being able to get a big win like that on your resume shows that it not only gives you the confidence that you can beat any team in the country, it lets other teams know that, wow, we actually have to fear this team. They lost to Michigan in double overtime last year. They competed very well with Ohio State and Iowa. And then in the Michigan State game, they kind of got ran over, and then Rutgers, they probably should have won. But either way you look at it, it could have been a little bit better season in 2015. And translate that success into 2016, take what you learned last year and implement it this year, and it could be a very successful season. So getting my record prediction for Indiana for this year, and I have them going 7-6. Like I said, I think they're going to build off their record from last year a little bit. I see them with a 3-0 start against Florida International, Ball State, and Wake Forest. This 4-game stretch of Michigan State, Ohio State, Nebraska, and Northwestern, they might be able to pull out one upset. I wouldn't doubt that they'd be able to, but that is a very tough stretch of games that I see them. Right now, I don't think they will win a single one of those. Maryland, Rutgers, I think they'll be able to get out of those 2 games with 2 wins, which would put them at 5-4 for the season. Penn State and Michigan, I don't think that they will win. In the Purdue, I think they can finish off the regular season at 6-6 and then get a bowl win this year. Like I said, Redding was a very, very good player in a bowl game last year. I don't think he wants to end another bowl game on the same note they lost when they lost 44-41 to Duke last year. So that pretty much concludes this video. I will be coming back tomorrow with Colorado, Oregon State, and Washington. So moving over to the Pac-12 for a little bit. That's pretty much it. See ya.